Hello everyone, my name is Ruben Unsueta, and I did my project on the history of three hats. First, I will be talking about the bowler hat. Second, I will be talking about the cowboy hat. And third, I will be talking about the bucket hat. Alright, so starting off with the bowler hat, I drew a bowler hat. I'm pretty sure you all are aware of the bowler hats and what it looks like. But in case you weren't, that is the bowler hat. So the bowler hat was designed in 1849 by Thomas and William Bowler. Edward Coke, brother of Thomas Coke, 1st Earl of Leicester, England, commissioned the hat for his gameskeepers. It was commissioned to keep them safe from low-hanging branches. When it was completed, it is said that Edward Coke stepped on it to test its strength. It sounds a bit odd to step on a brand new hat, but I guess that's one way to test a hat's durability. So who wore it then? British working class and businessmen wore it back then. In America, it was also very popular. It was often preferred over the cowboy hat. And there's proof of this with pictures from that time period. And what I hadn't realized before taking this class is that the Victorian time period was the cowboy period. Yeah. So it was just a very popular Victorian hat back then. And let me see. Yeah, before I forget, it is seen in old Western pictures. For example, Billy the Kid was seen wearing the hat, and there's pictures of him wearing the bowler hat. So who wears it now? Today, it is seen worn by British policewomen. It is also worn by men who go to semi-formal events. It can be worn in place of the top hat if you don't want to wear the top hat. Also, surprisingly, indigenous women of the Andes wear the bowler hat as part of their traditional dress. Alright, now on to the cowboy hat. And I have a cowboy hat, so I'll be wearing it for this part. In 1865, John Batterson Stetson was inspired by hats worn by Mexican vaqueros to make the cowboy hat. At the time, the hat was known as the Boss of the Plains hat, and was not just a fashion statement. It represented the cowboys' commitment to the Western lifestyle, and it was also a form of personal protection. So the original hat had a flat brim. It didn't have the sides curled up the way you see it. This later came because cowboys wanted to customize their hats. So they rolled the brims and they creased the crowns. So before then, the cowboy hat was flat, and this was round. Also, they would add a stampede strap to keep the hat from falling off during riding or rough winds. So who wore it then? Naturally, cowboys wore it back then. People associated with the Western lifestyle and people in the West. Let's see here. So also the Texas Rangers were famous for wearing the cowboy hat. Who wears it now? So now the cowboy hat has a wider distribution, and people all over the world, cowboys specifically, and people associated with the ranch cowboy culture wear the hats. I also want to note that there are different subcultures within the cowboy culture, and they can be identified by the different shapes of the hat and different ways of creasing the crown. Yeah, did that make sense? Yeah, so there's different ways of shaping the brim and the crown. That's how you can tell the different subcultures of cowboys. Alright, now on to the bucket hats.